Hello, everybody. It's Tammy. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I'm going to be doing the final installment in the video series that I've been doing, Entering Hecate's Cave. For the last couple months, I've been deep into this journey through Hecate's Cave with Cyndi Brannen. So, this is a book that you can find. You can buy it in person and have an actual physical copy of it, or it's on Kindle. I chose to do it on Kindle because I knew that there was going to be like times that I was going to be doing this at night, and it's very dark and shadowy in the church that I live in. So I needed to kind of utilize the brightness of the screen and the light that comes from using a tablet, right? So that's why I chose this method for me. However, I do really honestly enjoy having an actual physical copy of books. So I might end up actually now purchasing this in a physical form for myself because I really honestly, I really enjoyed doing this. I would, however, suggest doing her books, Cyndi Brannen's books, the Entering Hecate's Garden and Keeper of Her Keys. I would look at those kind of first before I do this, and I haven't. And I now that I've done the journey, I kind of wish that I did because I feel like I would have gotten more from the experience if I had a little bit more education in around Hecate and offerings and different things like that. So my suggestion would be to kind of start at those other two books first and getting good with those and then do this one. But I mean, if this is speaking to you, it's speaking to you, and that's what I did. It was speaking to me, so I went with this one first. So it is what it is. I still had an amazing journey and I still had an amazing experience. I just feel like it would have maybe been elevated a little bit more, or a little bit better in a way if I would have had a little bit more of her information that is in the other two books that she's created. I just wrapped up my journey. I just finished it all. I went through it all. I had an amazing, profound experience. And it's been a whirlwind, but like a good whirlwind. Like it was amazing. A lot of it was really personal. It is a very personal journey. There is a lot of private information. So, as I said in the other two videos, there is obviously things that I just can't share. But I thought that I would kind of touch on the closing aspects of it all and just kind of show you how I shut down my personal altar and closed out the working with Hecate, right? I did use my actual altar, right? So I had to this whole entire time it's been transformed into this entire journey that I was taking. So there was a lot of different elements up there. There was a lot of stuff dedicated to her. There was just a lot of stuff happening that typically isn't on my altar. So I thought I would shoot a video on how I just cleansed everything and shut everything down after taking this journey. So I'll touch a little bit on the journey. I'll talk a little bit about what you're seeing, but then I'm going to show you how I cleansed my altar and shut it down and transformed it into the way that I want it to be right now. We're going to go to my camera on my phone. It might be a little shaky, it might be a little crazy. I'm sorry if it gives any of you motion sick. I tried my best to use like all of my different devices and stands and whatnot, but because I am moving it around and I am doing different things, there is going to be obviously a little bit of movement and strangeness to the video, right? So just be aware of that. But anyways, let's get into it and let's see what I've done and how I closed out this entire journey for myself. All right, so here's my personal altar. And like I said before, it's set up to do that final chapter in the book with Cyndi Brannen. And I now need to shut it down because the journey is now done. And I need to now start cleansing everything. Before I started this journey, I made it clear to Hecate what my intentions were. And that was to work with her during this journey and then to kind of close things out for now. However, I do feel like I'll be visiting her and spending time with her again. I do make my own Florida water, but for this, I'm going to be using the Florida water that you typically find in most metaphysical shops, just because I'm out of my own personal recipe. So I grabbed an old white towel that I have, and I'm just putting a little bit of Florida water on it, and then I'm going to wipe down every single thing that was used in this journey with Hecate. Almost all the crystals that this journey called for are water safe, and I can wipe down safely. However, there is a few that aren't, but these are my working crystals, and they they have to get wiped down. So they don't make it, and I'll replace them when that time comes. But for the majority, all of them are tough enough, or at least coated and polished, and are able to take a wiping down with the Florida water. Florida water is alcohol based, but I'm not really that concerned about it. It's more about cleansing the energy and getting them ready for the next thing that I need to use them for. As I work through them all and wipe them off, I think about the journey that we took together and the energy that those crystals brought into my journey and the different things that happened during those periods in time in my journey. I also make sure that I'm setting the intentions, that I am removing these energies, that I am clearing this crystal and putting it back into a clean, perfect state and is ready to be used in my next journey or my next meditation or whatever I choose to do with them next. This really was such an amazing journey, and I thoroughly enjoyed and got a lot from doing it. All of these crystals, the different exercises, and just the different ways that she explains or taps into Hecate's energy is just amazing. And I don't even know what else to say other than I highly suggest that if you're looking for change or feel like you're in a rut or that you're just in a bad spot in your life, that this book and Journey with Hecate into her cave might be exactly what you may need. And it might be something worth looking into, but only do it if it actually speaks to you. So now the crystals are all cleansed, and I'm just going to put them back where they go. And that's in this wooden platter that I have that kind of just holds all of my palm stones and all of my different stones that I work with for meditating and for healing and all of those different types of activities. So in this bowl here, I kind of keep like my extra stuff that I might need as far as dried rose petals and lavender. There's a couple extra crystals and my fluorite kind of lives in there. So back to its home it goes. The Witch's Tarot and the Outgrow Yourself are the decks that I used in this journey. So at a later time, I'll sit down and put them back into order and reorganize them to cleanse them and reset them. Cyndi suggests ending your journey with Hecate during a full moon. Mine, luckily, ended up aligning perfect with the full moon that just recently happened. And it was just amazing. Like I said, my entire experience was profound and exact and was what I was looking for. I'm going to put a little bit more Florida water on the cloth and we're going to give my altar a wipe down. It is raw wood, but it's ironwood, and I don't think the Florida water will affect it any at all. It never has in the past. And I just take my time wiping everything down that kind of hangs out and sits on my altar all the time. My bear is my spirit animal and is always on my altar, as well as my crystal bird skull, which is another wonderful energy I love to tap into and utilize. And then there's a bunch of other little trinkets that just hang out. All of my pottery that I use is handmade from a local potter, and I absolutely love the energy that they bring forward. I use the various vessels for different purposes, but the one dish on my altar, I keep my platonic solids set in, and those are another interesting elemental energy that I like to pull in and work with from time to time. While I was out returning the crystals back to their homes throughout my house, I grabbed my little mini oriental rug. I just recently got it and I really want to use it on my altar because the wood of my altar is raw and quite rough. It has scratched and damaged cards in the past, and I'm always looking for a way to keep my cards in good shape and to not get them damaged. I do have a card holder, and that's typically what I've been using. However, it's kind of bowing my cards because it doesn't have a back to it, and I just want to find a different way or even a different card holder that has a back to it. I haven't found one, and I think that I'll find it when the time is right and probably during one of my many adventures that I take during the beautiful warmer months. I'm just going to spend my time now arranging things and placing things until I find the right combination that works for me. Just kind of wiping and cleaning as I go, removing any of that excess energy or bits of sand or incense and different things like that. I'm very meticulous about the placement of objects. To me, it's very important. I find the placement of objects to be absolutely important to me, anyways, and just reflects my space, and it needs to be aesthetically pleasing to my eye. All right, I'm pretty happy with where everything is right now up here. Let's get down below and clean up what's happening underneath my altar. To me, that space is very important as well because it's like the roots. It's where the legs of my altar touch the ground, and it's a very important space as well. So let's get that tidied up too. Cyndi also has you create a Sista Mystica or a sacred box to just contain and hold all of the different elements of your journey. And I feel like I'm going to keep a majority of it just as a reminder, but I'm going to remove some of the crystals and objects because I want to use them in different works and I don't want them just hanging out in a box where I'll forget about them. Oh, I forgot. My black tourmaline is back here and I want to get it out. Look at this baby. It is so beautiful. It's one of the biggest pieces that I've ever found, and I absolutely love it. I placed it back there just to keep it safe and out of the way during my journey with Hekate, but now it's time for it to come out and be right out in the front where I tend to usually keep it. So I think I want to keep the Witch's Tarot at my altar because I found it a great way to speak and connect in with goddesses and feminine energy. But I'm not entirely sure if I want to, but I'm just going to put it there for right now. I can always change my mind after. And I'm just going to put a few more of the other things that I have hanging around back to kind of where they go or where they're easy for me to get to when I do need to use them. I'm just going to spend a little bit more time wiping down the few objects that I have left to cleanse. This is my tarot card stand that I'm wanting to find a replacement for. However, I do really like it, so I'm not going to get rid of it quite yet. This is a cedar slab that I have that I like to use to put things on. It smells amazing. But I'm really not quite sure if I'm going to put that back up on top of my altar or not. So I'm just going to put it down here for now. These are two decks that I like to meditate with. I pull cards from them quite regularly, and they just kind of give me a direction and focus for meditations that I do. This is a beautiful Himalayan Lemurian clear quartz point. I like to work with it a lot, so I'm just going to kind of place it in a spot that I can easily get to it. This is a beautiful piece of smoky quartz that I enjoy to work with as well. So I'm going to put that nice and near. I have my bowl that's kind of got a whole bunch of extra trinkets and things in it. It's kind of where I put the things that I want to work with, but I'm not necessarily working with at this moment. But they're here and they're easy for me to get to. This is a beautiful piece of rose calcite that I like to meditate with and use. It's very soft and gentle. All right, and I take a look at any of my old affirmations or any of the little notes that I've written myself, or maybe things that I want to put out into the universe. And I make my little pile and get ready to burn them out in the chimenea when I get the opportunity to. Here's my copy of Outgrow Yourself, the Oracle slash Tarot. I absolutely love this deck. It did such a great job on this journey, and it just I love it. It's just an amazing deck. Another deck that I ended up using with my journey through Hecate's Cave is the Avian Tarot. It did really well too. It connected me to the spirit guide, animal guide that I chose to work with, which was the eagle for my journey. All right, so I'm just going to do a few more things and then we'll come back and I'll show you how my altar is and what I'm doing with it moving forward. All right, here it is, all nice and tidy. Here's my antique cauldron with my abalone shell, as well as sage and Palo Santo sticks. I also have all of my candles and Florida water and other vessels all up in this corner here, nice and organized. My huge black tourmaline is behind there now again, just because I needed room to put my book stand and my books for the new decks that I'm working with and different things I'm doing. But yeah, here it is, all nice and tidy and clean and smelling and looking good. Here's all the crystals and my little bowl of platonic solids. This is the decks that I'm studying and working with, which are the Usi decks that I just brought in. I'll be launching a video about that very, very soon. I've got my incense. I've got my two nods to Hecate still, the shell and the key. And then I have my spirit animals. And down here is all of my meditation palms and all of the different stuff that's nice and cleansed and organized. Here's where I tucked my black tourmaline. And then this is the books that I have in its spot. I needed to move it because of that. I wanted to have these books easily accessible because I am still learning the two Usi decks up above. So this is where I do my daily poll. Those were my polls for today. And then I just spent some time looking at the book and reading about them and learning how the energy of this deck translate and what it's all about. I'm absolutely loving my time with the Usi decks. It's just been an amazing thing. This was my card from the Materia Prima for today. An astounding elemental deck that I'm really enjoying. This space is feeling so good. I decided to keep my picture of Hecate because I feel like my work with her is definitely not complete, and I will be going back and doing some more with her after a little bit of a break. But yeah, so let me get back here and you can look at the big full picture of my space. These are the big stained glass windows that are right up above. They go almost all the way to the ceiling. And this is where I do my work. This is where I connect in and meditate and do yoga and do a bunch of different things. My journey through Hecate's cave is over, and now my space is cleansed.